Welp, it's been a long time coming, but it's time to finally become a god. Will this be the worst pixel game before us? Yes, this is WorldBox on Steam. WorldBox is a god simulator where you take on the reins as a god with limitless potential to a degree. WorldBox has no fanfare in its startup. You're basically just placed on a massive set of islands, and that's really the intro to the game. There's no story going on, there's nothing else. And each island is meticulously crafted. It's designed to showcase all the detail that can go into the world building, what you can do in WorldBox to really design anything you want. And if you actually do look on the Steam Workshop, there's a ton of different islands that people have built, even some like America, China, everything that you can basically think of. But you'll probably destroy this island that you start off with in the first 5 seconds. Either you'll place random monsters, zombies, wizards, aliens, or any other form of Eldritch horror that you can think of. And if you're not doing that, you're just, playing around with the map and basically throwing random stuff down. Now, while WorldBox gives you everything at your fingertips, it really fails to give you a sense of any purpose in this game. This is a game that is only as fun as you can make it. There isn't really a story other than the ones that you can create yourself. But those stories are all in your mind. Like, you have to basically, if you want a wizard versus a wizard, you're throwing down the wizards, and that is the story you're telling. There isn't any sense of the stories actually being part of the gameplay. Now, even though you make those stories, they'll usually devolve into fighting. Because as history has taught us, sentient creatures will fight to establish dominance no matter what. And any creature you put down, you can slightly tweak and modify, such as like names and that kind of stuff, but for the most part, they're going to do their own thing. If you throw down 100 humans, they're going to kind of mill about, do what they need, gather supplies, gather fruits, vegetables, whatever they need without your interactions. Now this is where I always struggle with WorldBox the most. It is fun to kind of mess around with and play around with, but you always feel like you're the outside observer instead of actually playing the game. I attribute this similarly to having like an ant colony. You can set up the ant colony the way you want initially, but eventually the ants are going to actually build out however they want their ant colony to be. Now, you can slightly force situations in WorldBox, such as creating more animosity or more peace-loving between different factions, but it's relatively limited, and sometimes it doesn't actually feel like you are doing what you're trying to do. Now, overall, this is a game of what you make of it. If you can think of 10,000 scenarios you want to try and play out, then you'll get that amount of time as much as you can. Now, I could really dive deep into every single different type of character item you can place down, but honestly that's just fluff for this game. The game struggles. It struggles to really hold your attention longer than a few minutes at most. Once you get over that initial, being a god, throwing down nukes, throwing down all kinds of the weird powers, you kind of just get bored. There isn't a lot to do. And that's where the concept seems fun at first, but it quickly wears off, and you're just left with a shell of a boring game. Now, I don't think this is the worst pixel game I've ever played, but it does actually rank pretty low for me. We'll go ahead and show off which games of the previous ones we've done so far and where they sit in the ranking. Until the next one, I hope you'll join me for the worst pixel games. Later.